أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So last week we started with ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. But our main focus was really Al-Kitab. What is the book? Do I need a book? And since it's specifically talking about the book, as if I am in expectation of something as such. And the example was if somebody brings you the potato peeler and then says, this is the potato peeler, then you would say, well, what potato peeler? Like, I'm not even cooking at home. Like, even if you're trying to sell me a potato peeler, I wouldn't really be interested in it. Forget about the potato peeler. But now the verse was starting with, this is the book, as if it is something that I must be interested in. So this was the idea. Then okay, we have a insect issue, but you should have so bad.
I can get a napkin.
You hit the animal so bad. The dog was tired. Okay. No, it's at that stage. Okay. So
Now the insect was killed, ladies can come.
yeah. Now that the insect is gone. Okay. So these were the part that we covered. So last week's overall were two major points. The first one was the book. Do I need a book? Why not? This was the first part. And the second part was La Rayba Fi. There's no doubt in it. So this was the second part about the book. Anything that you would like to highlight from last week? I don't want to spend too much time, but are we comfortable and do we remember what we covered last week? You're good with that? Okay. Now we will continue Huda lil-Muttaqin with the second part. So it is a guidance, Hudan. But then let's unpack it because this is really now describing Quran. It is guidance. What is guidance? What can we say about the word guidance? Hudan lil-Muttaqin. We will talk about Muttaqin, so it is specifically guidance for Muttaqin. We will get to there. But guidance, when we say guidance,
It's assumed to be correct. Like when you ask for guidance, you're asking someone for the correct way forward or how to correctly do something.
That's good. Correctly do something. That's one part. Correctness needs to be there. What else in guidance? Like, for example, Mukhtar, where do you live?
Like and now at Penn?
At Penn, yeah.
Well, college house.
College house, right? Do you need a guide to take you to college house?
No.
You already know it, right? You already know where it is. So guidance needs to be for something that you do not know about. Is that right? So, for example, would you expect Quran, if it is a guide, to teach you, I don't know, how to cook egg?
No.
All right. So you don't need a guide for that. Okay, so guidance needs to be for about matters that I do not know. Otherwise, I wouldn't call it a guide. I would say I don't need you. Right? So it must be things about that I do not know. Interesting. Because now it is these are going to shape how I approach Quran. Okay, so it needs to be correct. It needs to be about things that I do not know. What else can we say?
It must be something that I can relate to.
Relate to?
Yeah, like I have an example I can maybe share, or something that looks like a guidance, but actually it's just waste of time.
Hmm.
So the guidance should be not wasting my time. My Lord, it is something that I cannot even relate to.
I see. Like, for example, there are many such YouTube videos which are arousing curiosity, knowing or not knowing. Like, if they teach me how to make an atomic bomb, is this a guide for me? Like, how to make atomic bomb? Okay, I learned, but so what? What am I going to do with it?
Also, you need to have some mechanism to verify it. Like I've tried it and it works, that you should be able to say that. Otherwise, if I give you some new age, the speech about different cosmic, the dimensions of this world, how they help us, whatever. Is it a guidance? It sounds like a guidance because it tells you what to do.
So then can we take this back to what Mukhtar was saying about correctness? Like if it is guidance, but I don't know how to verify it. So how am I going to know that it's correct in the first place? So guidance must be verified at some point.
Well, I guess related to that is when you ask for guidance, it's usually on something that's right in front of you or something pressing. You wouldn't ask for guidance on a decision that's far off into the future. You I guess the connotation would be advice on something far off into the future, but guidance on something that you're dealing with right now or very soon.
I see. And maybe then we can tell this with relatable in this regard, because if it's something far away, like if I tell you, Mukhtar, what happens when you get to age 16, you would say, well, still I have a lot of time. Like, don't waste my moment with suggestions about my 60-year age. Write it down. I will read it when the time comes, right? So,
or the other way around. Tell you something what happened 2 million ago.
2 million years
ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's not relatable again. What am I going to like? What is guidance about what happened 2 million years ago? Okay. So in this regard, relatable and correctness seems to be quite important aspects of guidance. Even if somebody mentions then something about 2 million years ago in that book, or something that's to come billions years later, if it is guidance, then I will approach it. What is the relatability here? What is correctness here? This is where we are going with, because like the way we are speaking, it might sound like that in the book, it only tells me about my day-to-day activities, because this seems to be the most relatable and most confirmable, right? But no, Quran talks about a future after I die and talks about beginning of creation, right? Which seems to be neither relatable for this like short-sighted sense of the word, nor confirmable in this regard. So how is it going to become a guidance then, right? This is why that description is very important. How am I going to approach Quran so that I start seeing this as a guidance? So we are not going to escape from changing our definition of guidance, but rather we will try to consider or evaluate our understanding of why Quran talks about stories of the past or tells about some future that will come after I die. What sort of a guidance is that? Will be our question. Does this make sense? Because generally this is not the attitude. The attitude is we take it as a story and then we try to just, while it's a story, trying to, I don't know, somehow without harming the divineness of the message, generally cook up a cover story for that. But our attitude is, no, it is supposed to be a guidance. What sort of a guidance is here? So we are reading it from that angle. This is why our description of guidance is important. Yes.
another dimension of the guidance. It must be like a touching me. So you cannot give me a generic information, for instance, even if it is, the important one, even if it is something that I can use one day. It's not about me. I wouldn't take it as a guidance for me. It's just information flowing in front of me. It should be something about me. Otherwise, I wouldn't call it as guidance. Like imagine you go to a psychiatrist and he's telling you everything he knows. And let's assume everything is right. Like he tested it with many people. There are publications, etc. Everything is right. But who cares? Like, tell me something that that will work with my problem. So it needs to be specific to me.
So in this regard, then, the distinction that you're making, it's important to put those words. Guidance is different than mere information. Information given to you might be correct, but if it's not useful for you, it's not a guidance for you. So it needs to be useful for me. In this regard, how am I going to make use of that? When I see a verse in Quran, I will ask the question, in what sense is this guiding me? That, since this is how Quran introduces it, I should be able to ask that question for every single verse in the Quran. What sort of a guidance is this for me? And me in here, we are underlining. Okay. So what sort of guidances do you find yourself in need of? Now let's make it a little real. In life, like do you feel like, oh, if only I have a guidance, let's say, and in this case, I can turn to MSA since it happens quite a bit. Are you seeking guidance of like career advice who are professionals in your domain, yet they are coming from Muslim background? How to be a Muslim in the work environment. This is a guidance that you guys were asking for example, right? Because it's a significant part of your life. You have a professional life. And you say, how am I going to navigate in professional life while preserving my quote-unquote identity? Or you can take it one step further. If you're not only concerned about protecting yourself, you can say, how can I serve religion of God in my professional environment and whatnot? Like these are the things that we are, I guess, as a generic thing, in need of guidance. What else? What else are you in need? What is the most pressing things in your life that you need a guide about?
Family life.
Family life. How to navigate family life. Very good. What else? You think don't need guidance? This is what I was afraid of. Because if I don't need guidance, then the book is irrelevant. And this is where we were coming from last week, right? Do you really need a book? In other words, do you need guidance? Because the book is saying that I am of guidance. So think about it. And we can pause for a minute or 2 minutes, doesn't matter. Let's try to make it organic and real. What sort of guidance you would need?
How should I manage my time? Everything that I want to do and everything that I need to do.
Time management about things. Okay, very good. Time management, very good. Time management is another way of saying, how do I manage my curiosity? Because you have limited time and your curiosity sometimes puts you work on this rather than that. So how do you manage your curiosity rather than wasting your time with, I don't know, 1 minute YouTube videos, which is a waste of time, but actually it's a waste of curiosity if you think about it. How do I manage my curiosity? What else? Okay, we got two. Okay.
How to seek knowledge is, like for me, I think about this a lot. How can I always look for improving myself through like gaining as much information as I can?
Okay, very good. Very good. How can I improve myself? Because in this regard, really, it can go back with curiosity. Because this is going to be bad to say about myself, but yesterday I found myself reading Wikipedia article about how Ronald Reagan was assassinated or attempt to get assassinated and why, as if it is some sort of a value for me, like stupid waste of my curiosity. I got information. Did it add anything to me? Probably not, other than taking away my time. So the potentiality is there for human to get knowledge. And I can sell that knowledge. Actually, I was selling it to my wife during the dinner yesterday. Now I'm more knowledgeable. See, the guy was assassinated or attempt to get assassinated. But no use. So actually, I would like somebody to teach me what is worthy to worry about. And in this regard, since the book is claiming to be guidance, then maybe the things that it mentions could be a good guide in this regard. Like these are the things that are worthy to worry about, and these are the things that are not worthy to worry about. Even let me add another twist to this. Let's talk about stories in Quran. They give information to you about Musa alayhi salam's life. From multiple angles, same event repeats in different parts of the Quran, and it's being mentioned in slightly different ways. Focus is changing. Sometimes it's not giving any detail at all, sometimes gives precise details. Actually, that could be a way to educate myself. Whatever it mentions must be then worthy to pay attention to. Whatever it does not mention is not worthy to think about. Right? Because what's happening is sometimes we go to other books and try to fill in the gaps of how the story is explained in, let's say, Torah or Bible. Quran doesn't mention details of the story, but I say, in the other books, these details are mentioned. Actually, this Pharaoh's name was such and such and such. Was it a necessary information? If I take it as information gathering, yes, because now I'm learning history. But from a guidance point of view, since the book is not mentioning, it must be that it's irrelevant for me. Do I see it as such? Same thing could apply for how Quran talks about sun is rotating. Sun is turning, right? So one way to take it is, as our mosque takes, one of the mosques, local masjid, it says, Earth doesn't rotate. Sun rotates around Earth. This is how this masjid takes it. Another one says, no, actually, Quran is talking about, it's a miracle, scientific miracle in Quran. Quran is talking about how sun is rotating around itself 14 centuries ago, even before we knew it, Quran was mentioning it. What is guidance when Quran says sun is rotating? It's a guidance for you. And it's a guidance for your grandmother who had no knowledge about, the sphere of Earth, whether it is flat or it is sphere, whether it is rotating or sun is rotating. It's a guidance. It's a guidance to indicate that there is an order in this existence. Don't you see that? To your perception, sun always is rotating, like starts from east coast to the west. But this is happening within an order. This is the guidance in there. What is guidance here? It points to something. And this is where I will take it to the next step. Guidance means it points to a means other than itself. We talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago or so, but let's reintroduce it formally. Guidance is like a pointer. 2 weeks ago, we were giving the example of New York signpost that you see once you take 95. It says New York is this way. It's a guidance. Is it New York itself? No, it's a signpost that points to New York. Go in this direction, and you will find New York in that direction, right? Sun rotates, Quran mentions. If I take it as, no, it is talking about sun rotates to explain me how sun is functioning, then it's not a guidance. But if I take it as rotation of sun points to something other than itself, then it's guidance. Let me repeat this part again, because that's important. And the wordings might be a little tricky. The New York signpost doesn't point to itself. It doesn't tell about itself. It tells about New York City, which is elsewhere. Agreed?
Mhm.
Likewise, sun rotates is a signpost. If I take it as it talks about itself, then that means it's giving me information about sun. This simply means the signpost is what I'm going to eat, digest, or something. But that's not the point with a signpost. The point of a signpost is it points to something else. So what does sun rotating refer to? Yes.
The order of the system, the order that in which our life is placed in.
Yeah. So it says there's this regular creation that keeps happening. There must be an orderer that makes this. It's pointing to the orderer, not to order itself, not to sun itself. It says then there must exist an orderer. It's pointing to its maker. But if I get stuck with the sun itself rotating, is it the sun rotating? Is it the earth rotating? Is it happening this way, that way? It doesn't matter that much, actually. Because the point is, even when my grandmother, who has no knowledge of astronomy, would get the same message from either sun is going from east to west. If you are an astronomer, actually, you know what? The earth is rotating, sun is staying still there, but it's your illusion that the sun is rotating. Still, it's correct, because it's still pointing to the order. Or you say the astronomer says, but you know what? Sun is also rotating around itself. Quran also alludes to this. It's again pointing to the order, which all three of them points to the orderer. This is the guidance. This is why when it comes to scientific miracles in Quran, and we are saying that, look, this is the miracle of Quran, it's correct in one sense, but sometimes it's devaluing the guidance of Quran, because we start reading Quran as a science book. Then it loses its guidance value. Like it's not being Huda anymore. Does this make sense? It's being super reduced. Because which is a better astronomy book? Your astronomy textbook or Quran? Quran is not a better astronomy book, if you ask me, than your first grade astronomy book. Because first grade astronomy book tells you more about astronomy. You agree with that or no? Is this a blasphemy? No, it's not blasphemous, right? Because that's not the point of Quran, right? Quran's point is not to teach you how to make egg. We already concluded this, right? Quran is not a good cookbook. Would you say no, Quran is a better cookbook? It's not. It's not the purpose of Quran, right? Is it?
But it talks about all in things.
Yeah, a lot of food ingredients there, right? So Hudan is a key word, because sometimes we read Quran as a history book. Sometimes we try to read it as a science book. This doesn't mean that Quran never mentions food. It does, but it's not a cookbook. So, and in our, what is the word? Inferiority complex in this age, before scientific success, or in this, scientific enterprise, we try to make Quran a science book as well and say that, you know what, our book said the same thing you're saying 14 centuries ago. Haha, we beat you. Like this is being dead to you. Like as a funny anecdote, I was like working in a university back in the day in Turkey. And like Turkey is a secular country. And especially the professor class, more secular than religious. At the university, though, there were a few religious guys, but the president of the university was a old guy, and he had some religious background. He is coming from some rural areas from his childhood, so he has this religious feelings. There was a debate among professors. Is there evolution or not? And then the president joined the conversation by saying, there is evolution, but we found it before Darwin did. And then he brings up some Islamic scholar from the Golden Age or something, saying that actually humans evolved from palm trees, like date palms, rather than monkeys. So, have you heard about this? No? Like they are saying that, so they were saying that palm tree resembles humans so much. If you chop off the head of palm tree dies. Palm trees produce from their like root or something, like they give the children or whatever. Apparently somebody posited such a theory in the Islamic Golden Age, and our somewhat religious president was trying to say that we are more scientific than you are, rather than trying to look at the Quran as what is guidance in here, rather than me imposing my judgments on it. Let me see what it tells me. This is what we are also sometimes doing. We are proud of when we say Islamic Golden Age, we refer to which century is it? 13, like the Spain. Islamic Golden Age is not, when it comes to our university circles, it's not 7th century, which is the era of bliss. This was the golden age of Islam when it comes to understanding and living by the guidance. But we say, no, in Islam Awareness Week and whatnot, we make presentations of Spanish era of Islam. Okay. So this is why Hudan is important. Hudan is important to the extent that I realize what Hudan is, I will benefit from it. So what is guidance? What is not guidance is important in this regard. Who benefits from guidance?
Whoever needs it.
Whoever needs it. Somebody must be in need of guidance to benefit from it. What else? That's important. Choose to follow it. So I need it, but I might choose not to follow it. Okay, what might be the reason I need, yet I do not choose to follow? Like if you're hungry, like let's use the analogy of food. To whom food is given? To the hungry. Because if you are full, food is irrelevant for you. Can you choose not to eat despite you being hungry? Right. You can't, right? So when it comes to guidance, when do we do that? Guidance is there, yet I choose not to follow. I guess. Yeah, right. Okay. There's one thing that you cannot recognize that you need it. What else?
Your own desires. Like whims. Like you could be in denial that you need it because you prefer not, like it's more difficult to follow that path.
Yeah. So, like sometimes, who is the hardest to teach? Let's start from there. Imagine a new student comes to your lab and you being the a little like second year, third year PhD student, you're going to help the newcomer. What type of student is the worst to try to teach?
The guy who acts like he knows it all.
Yeah, the guy who knows everything or thinks he knows everything, right? Because if he really knows everything, that's good. Like that guy would also know that there are things that I do not know. There's going to be some sort of humbleness, because the more you know, you realize the less you know. But if you think you know too much, yet you don't know, it's impossible, right? You start saying something and the guy putting 5 sentences before you. You give it another try with, and after the third, what do you say? You're just shaking heads. Yeah, you're right. You cannot teach anything to such a person, can you? So Quran is saying that I am guidance, but what am I coming to Quran with? Because that type of student who comes to the lab thinking that he or she already knows a lot is a problem, isn't it? Sometimes I sit before Quran saying that, oh, I already know sun is rotating. When Quran talks about sun rotates, I say I already know about this.
I know better.
Or I know.
Quran says, those who think with their heart, and you say, 14th century ago, yeah, people thought the heart was the central, the locus of the thinking, but now we know better.
Yeah. This is even worse, right? Sometimes we overlook what Quran is saying, but we are being a little understanding, saying that, yeah, of course, like such things, Quran spoke as such because this is what people thought. Or even sometimes verse and say that, yeah, this is what Prophet thought back then. That's why he had written it as such.
To help people.
To help people. Yeah, no ill will. He made up words claiming that it's speech of God, but he had good intention. Sometimes that's how it's being taken. Right? What does it mean for you then to not know? Actually, now we combine two pieces, right? Initially, we said guidance is a guidance if you do not know it, because you are not in need of somebody to guide you to college house. But also, you need to acknowledge that you do not know. When it comes to sitting before Quran, I should be checking myself because it's really hard to do. Like if you are an expert in business, in computer science, in psychiatry, you think you know it. And then you sit before Quran, and Quran is going to guide you some topic relevant or the same. It's really hard to say that, let me say what this is saying, rather than me imposing my materialist background education. This is where my knowledge is coming from. I try to impose it on Quran rather than trying to understand where Quran is coming from. So this is a hindrance to my understanding. This is a hindrance for me to receive revelation or guidance. Yeah.
And tying back to the first revelation, the Iqra, we all know how the story goes. When you carefully try to understand the life of the Prophet from not a historical point of view, but how it relates to Iman, belief, and the revelation, you realize that everything about him made perfect sense, that he was the chosen one. He was the prophet. So imagine yourself, I always give this example. Imagine yourself in the cave, and Jibril alayhi salam comes and tells you, read. You would probably say, okay, let me try. I studied Arabic a little bit, right? You would say, okay, show me what I'm going to read. That's who you are. What Prophet says, he says, I don't know how to. That's the most perfect answer to receive guidance. So it shows that he had this trouble. He looked for answers, and somebody comes and asks him how to read or read, He says, I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be here. It's like a call for give me the answer. It's like we usually take it as, a stuff like a deficiency. He's admitting that, oh, I'm illiterate. Like nobody teach me how to read, write, etc., which is a fact, yes. But he's confessing that he needs guidance. He's aware of that, and he's not trying to, to fill the gaps himself, unlike us. So it's really almost impossible to find someone else who would give this answer.
Because it feels like lacking, but it is human's reality. So admitting that I do not know is what is missing in me.
I would at least ask, okay, show me what to read.
Because going back to what I was asking Junaid, like you have the food, you're hungry, there is food, why would you choose not to eat? Sometimes it's happening that in the environment, like this happens with actually, okay, should this be a bad example? Let's say you are going to meet your future spouse for the first time, but this is happening in a cafe environment, right? So that there are other people as well. Since you're meeting for the first time, even if you are too hungry, you don't want to eat too much because you don't want to appear like a beast, right? So you just politely eat a small piece and leave it there. Why? You don't want to admit or show your real person because you don't want to like scare the lady yet, right? So there might be multiple reasons that I avoid. I don't want to admit that I don't know because sometimes others will see how stupid I am. Or even if nobody else, I don't want to consider myself as stupid. We watch ourselves before anybody else watches. Do I admit to myself that I don't know? That's an important point. Okay. So guidance being certain, let's also talk about this because ذَلْكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, we talk about this. This is a book. There is no doubt in it. But if the book has no doubt in it, then that means the guidance also doesn't have any doubt in it. How could guidance be certain? This goes back to what we were initially mentioning then. Guidance needs to be verifiable so that I can be certain about it. And this is going to be a key point in the following verses as well, because it's going to talk about certainty. It's guidance, but how do you know if the signpost says New York is this way? How would you be certain about it? Answer simple. How would you know that New York is this way?
The sign is pointing in a specific direction.
And then you need to follow the sign, get to there. Then you would know, yes, indeed, New York is this way. Okay.
Does that mean then like you have the potential to mess up? Because that means like, let's say there is that sign and I'm like, oh, it's like this is New York, and I go and I'm like, this doesn't feel like me. Because I'm also thinking of one of the comments of like, okay, like your own desire kind of clouding maybe the guidance itself. And you're like, definitely thinking this is the right guidance. So I take that path and I'm like, okay, this is definitely not the path. Then you turn. So is there a space also for, I guess, you kind of creating an illusion that you are?
Very, very good question. Maybe we should have taken this into account as well. How do I find guidance from Quran? This is why we shouldn't really decouple Quran and Messenger from each other because they come together for a reason. So how do I receive guidance from Quran? Actually, this is what Prophet ﷺ, let me see. No, not Prophet ﷺ. It was Imam Ali. When there was like internal conflict within the Muslim community, And when he was going to send his emissary to the Khawarij, he said, do not bring evidence from Quran to them, bring evidence from the practices of the Prophet ﷺ. Because you can take the verse and bend it in a way that it's going to serve your purpose. Because we are opening up a parenthesis here, but Quran is putting those, if you like, main signposts, but prophetic way of understanding Quran is interpreting it in its whole. But if I can go and do cherry picking and bring my understanding up on it and then distort the truth. So this is why prophetic guidance of how to receive guidance from Quran becomes relevant. Like a few things in here, let me try to put them together. Sorry for patchwork, but confirming truthfulness of Quran from creation. This is one of the tools that I have at times. Confirming truthfulness of Quranic guidance within myself, because this is also word of God. Like me, I am a creation of Him. The word outside is a creation of Him. So, and speech is His speech, so they need to be aligned. So these are the ways to confirm it. And also I need to bring in the third component, which is messenger. How did the first person who was given this took it? So in this regard, I am really putting pieces together. There was a comment there.
So then applying it to the guidance, the practical implication of this guidance becomes important. Because when we say verify, confirm, or be certain about the guidance, the point is not understand what is mentioned there, to think about it. Well, does it make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, that means it must be the true wisdom, the guidance, hidayah, wisdom. Right? You can take it that way, but the actual way you should be doing is the proper way. You take the guidance, look at the practical implications, you apply it in your life, and see whether it works or not.
And then I would say this is a true message.
Exactly.
Then I can bear witness that this is speech of my Creator. So in this regard, then, this is something that I will try to apply to everything. If I see a verse in Quran, I will see, is there a way that I can verify this? There must be, the relevant aspect of this must be verifiable. Relevant aspect of this must be verifiable. And then, why is that important? Why am I bringing this up? When Quran talks about stories of the ancient, how am I going to go and verify those stories? Like, am I going to make archaeology and go and see if really, really Musa alayhi salam lived in here? Like even today in Christian, some people are questioning the historical Jesus. Did such a people really exist or not? Right? You go even further in the past, in the history. Then how can I verify if Ibrahim alayhi salam really said such a sentence to his father? It's talking about a conversation that happened between two people. Right? How am I going to be certain about that conversation? But it's not the point. The point is not that did they really have this conversation or not. That's not the point, because that's not the guidance aspect of that story. The guidance aspect of that story is it is talking to you. How is this a guidance? This is what matters for you. So I'm going to see, because the example in here is generally how it happens, right? Let's say the way Mukhtar is sitting there. In order not to hurt Mukhtar directly, I would say there was once a person whose name was, I don't know, Janet. And Janet used to be sitting like this in the room, and then there was this many people. And I'm giving some example of Janet, right? But the point in this story, if it's a guidance for you, is, however, I conclude the story with whether sitting like this is proper or not, let's say, this is what matters for you. In this guidance, if I'm saying that, oh, sitting this was wrong in the Janet story, and this is why it is wrong, then you need to take Janet as you now and say, okay, I'm doing what Janet is doing. It looks like this guy is talking about Janet because I am doing what Janet did. So let me see how it applies to me. Then you apply my guidance in the story. And if it's fixing something in your life, then you can confirm that actually this is the truth. This is what I'm looking for. Otherwise, it is, initially we said, information is irrelevant for me. It needs to be relatable. The guidance aspect is what matters for me. And this is what I'm going to be looking for to verify it. So when Musa alayhi salam story comes, there's this fight between Musa and Pharaoh. Then I would say, okay, where is Musa, where is Pharaoh in my life? And this is how Pharaoh was attacking. Are there such attacks in my life? It might be from within, it might be from the society, but I need to identify pharaohs in my life. This is why Quran repeatedly talks about Pharaoh. It must be that I have a lot of pharaohs around. Even part of Pharaoh might be here as well, within. Then where is Musa? Where is the mosaic attitude? How can I stand before it? This is the guidance in the story. The rest is becoming irrelevant. This is not where I'm going to look for confirmation. And again, this is related to if it is a signpost, don't try to go with a, magnifier glass to the signpost in 95 and try to see where New York is in the signpost. You won't find it. You will never find New York on the signpost. Likewise, do not get stuck with the story itself. Do not get stuck with on the surface what it is saying. Look for where it is pointing to. Okay? Sounds good? Okay, now comes the muttaqin. Because it looks like it's... Yeah. Oh, yes, sorry. Okay.
Wait, so I guess the state of being acknowledging that I don't know something challenging, because in order to verify something, to compare to some sort of knowledge you had in the past. So is it that, like, for example, with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with the experience in the cave, he said, I don't know how to read in that moment, but is it that he continued to say he didn't know, even as he was continually receiving revelation? So it's not that he said, I don't know how to read. Now I'm being given revelation. I know the meaning of this, so I can interpret maybe what comes after based on having some knowledge beforehand. So I guess I'm just a bit confused, the difference between saying that I know something versus saying that I'm certain about something. Like, continue. I guess it seems to me that you kind of need to be continually in the state of I don't know in order to receive like guidance about it.
So I guess the question in here, see if I understood you correct. So I sit before Quran, let's imagine hypothetically, somehow I admitted that I am zero. And Quran taught me something, right? Because this is the idea, right? I didn't know, and now I'm taught something. Next time I sit before Quran, now I'm knowing something. Is this the question? Like, how am I going to erase this part of it, right? So I think in this regard, let's talk about practicality rather than going with too much theoretical modeling in there. Practically, what Quran teaches me, what's going to come next is going to sit on top of it. So maybe similar to how we are trying to conclude all our discussions, as Angel said, glory be to you. We do not have any knowledge other than what you taught us. So being in this state, I don't know anything by myself. Whatever I am given is given by you, given from you. Because that knowledge would never contradict with what is going to be given. And it's not going to be hindrance to what's going to be given. But if I come with some knowledge because Quran talks about another type of knowledge, which is exemplified in Qarun. Qarun is this wealthy man, and he says, this wealth is given to me because of my knowledge. Like he says, I have knowledge, it's mine, and something is given to me. This is a hindrance because Qarun is the one who misguided and built up this statue for children of Israel. You remember the story? And Qarun builds up the thing, like Qarun is suggesting an alternative guidance to people, saying that this is what we should be worshipping, which is also the God of Musa, which he forgot. So to the extent that I start saying this is my knowledge, it will start contradicting. So maybe then we should revise what we said before. Yes, I do not know anything by myself. I do not know anything other than what you taught me. And if I come to Quran with the knowledge that I learned from Quran, it's not going to contradict itself. Ideally, it shouldn't, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a guidance. So I think this is, does this clarify? You said multiple questions. Another question? Or was it that? Yes.
Two things.
Okay.
One, second.
The guidance is sign.
Yes. Okay.
So every time I use this word, like verify or confirm, that I use, I feel like irritated myself because it has this connotation that there's something in front of you, and your job is to tell whether it is true or not, like in a math exam, for instance. And I don't think this is the point, right? When we say verify and ayah, goes back to what Sister Zara said as well. We usually take the verification as we have certain knowledge, some proofs, like the mathematical axioms, some previous theorems in our minds. And if you give me another claim, I can run what I have in mind and then say whether it is true or not. I can prove that it's wrong for us, right? On the paper. That's usually what we understand from this verification. But when it comes to ayah, like a guidance, the word hidayah, right? Like taking you from somewhere to somewhere better, making you, the higher, whatever. It only works when it really takes you from where you are to a better place. Only then you can call it as hidayah. So practically, it should work. Practically, it should make sense. Quran tells you something, how you can verify it. You take whatever is said and apply it to your life, test it within your life. Quran says, I created birds. I created birds who love, living under the sea. Crazy. It cannot be from the one who creates this universe. That's for sure. How I know that? I look at the birds, I look at undersea, and I see that they cannot live there. Like practically, it wouldn't work. So Quran tells me something that doesn't fit to my reality. And I say that this is not the speech of the God, or the one who created my reality, at least. Sometimes I cannot see it directly, right?
Quran says, I'm going to resurrect you after you die.
Exactly.
Quran says, the martyrs are not dead. Don't tell them they are dead.
Yeah.
How do you make sense?
So I then take it and try to make sense in my practical life. Like, do I see any, signs of resurrection? What is resurrection for me? Not a cultural question, anymore. Like you can ask the question of what is resurrection in a cultural context, and you say that for Hindus, resurrection means this. For Christians, resurrection means that, whatever. When Quran says resurrection, you say, what does it mean to me in my life? Right? Am I even looking for resurrection? Is it something that I yearn for? Like I seek for? Right? You have to ask these questions. And within these, let's say, framework, now you will verify. Is there any signs in my life? Have I seen anything that is resurrected in my life? Or looks like at least resurrecting, reminding me something called resurrection? You have to ask these questions. Hence, when we were studying resurrection a few weeks ago, we were giving examples from the text of the scholar Imam Nursi, and he was keep giving these examples. Look at the springtime. Look at the earth, just like Quran does. How Quran explains resurrection? He talks about the rain, and then that earth, and then how it is resurrected, etc. It says, look at your life. Look at the life, the things that you see, the things that you can touch, smell, and see whether resurrection, like, do you see resurrection in there or not? This is guidance now.
And I think even practically, let's make it way more practical for this discussion. But do you feel like what is being said here clicks with you? This is the quickest way of verifying something. If what is being said here is very up in the sky, you won't come here next week. Because whatever is being said in here, you're checking it with yourself and saying that, does this match anything in me? Does it click anything? If not, you will get bored, you will start getting sleepy and whatnot, right? This is a way to verify. This is what we mean by verifying, right? So Quran talks about so many things. Do they really click with me? Or I'm not touching it. I mean, it's not clicking, yet I don't touch it because it's sacred. If I take the second attitude, okay, it's good. I'm not touching it so that I don't become blasphemous, because if I take it serious, probably I'll turn my back to it. This is my fear. This is why I don't want to really dig deeper many of the times. I say there must be some scholar who knows what it is talking about, but I'm not going to mess up with it because, I don't want to lose my faith. But this is also becoming a disservice to myself because I'm preventing myself from benefiting from its guidance. Because I'm not taking it as a guidance. I'm taking it only as partial guidance, a few verses here and there, which I can see a guidance in them, but not many other verses, right? It happened here last week, 2 weeks ago at Drexel. When I talk about guidance in Quran, people bring up, inheritance law. Like, this is something clear cut. But both students who wrote inheritance law probably didn't receive any inheritance in their life yet. So even that guidance hasn't practically become a guidance for them. It's just a copy-paste answer. So the question is, am I receiving guidance from Quran? Can I say that Quran is my guide? Everybody in this room probably has a favorite teacher in their life. This guy really taught that specific topic. I like math because of that guy. Or I like physics because of this teacher. Like in high school, primary school, you probably had some good teacher, hopefully. Is Quran such a book for you? Like, do you say Quran really nailed it down in this specific topic or in such and such topics? This is what we are looking for. But it is a guidance for muttaqin. But we are already over time, but we couldn't even touch muttaqin. We talked about muttaqin in the past, 2 or 3 weeks, no, maybe a month ago or so. But you guys were not here when we were talking about muttaqin. So Quran is not guidance for everyone. It is guidance for a certain group of people. So far, we were talking about what the message is about, but now it says, who are you? We talked about what it is, what the message is, but it says, it's not only about the message, it's also about you. Who are you? If you are fitting the bill for being muttaqin, then the message will talk to you as the book. Which might, if now, let's reverse engineer, if there are certain parts of the book which is not that much clear, if I'm going to be honest to myself, at the moment, maybe I am missing something about this muttaqin, whatever that means.
So God conscious is kind of like a conclusion scholars arrive with. Maybe we, like for now at least, we should just say conscious.
Conscious. Yeah.
And then after discussions, we should be able to say that, oh, okay, conscious of creation, conscious of the one who creates in front of me. It should come later.
So maybe let's put it to next week. What do you think? Because it's going to take time.
I can give you my example of non-guidance.
Okay, non-guidance. Go ahead.
I'm talking with a colleague, a senior one, and he's sharing his, the new hobby. He's watching some YouTube videos talking about the human evolution, like the historical facts, and he's talking about how after a certain point, the people coming from the Africa, met with these steppe people, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. And then how Europeans got their blue eyes, the blonde hair, white skin from them. He's a blue-eyed guy. And then he's talking about, by looking at the genetic sequences, you can come up with many, the historical facts. And after a certain point, these people coming from that, the previous lands killed everybody there. I said, well, wait a second, like, how did they move? They killed everybody. Like, we're talking about a few millions. Oh, it says, oh, yeah, you can say this from the disruptions in the sequence, like the flow of the sequence. Like you look how the genetic sequence follows throughout the ages. And when you see something stop drastically, you can cook up some story, right? And he says they went there and killed them all. Secondly, all you know is something happened, right? Okay, the people were dead. That much we know. And I said, no, you don't know either. The only thing you know is when you look at the genetic sequences, there's a disruption in the flow. That's all. I said, okay, that's we know. So the rest, what is being said, it's just like a fiction movie or the book, right? You read. It doesn't matter historically it is, the accurate or not, who cares? So that's the point, actually. Who cares? Whether it is accurate or not. These people went there and killed all of them, or something else happened, right? But the entire discussion is around that this story. So this story, again, doesn't matter. Like when we say it needs to be true, for instance, for something, the truth may mean many different things. Like the number of keys in this keyboard, for instance, let's assume it's 150. It's a true statement, right? But it's just true in itself, that's all. You don't care about that. How many keys there? Unless you are a keyboard engineer, right? Like you need to put more keys or take some keys out to make it smaller, whatever. So historically speaking, what happened, who cares? But this guy and many people like him, including us, for us, the stories change. They change. For them, it's the evolutionary stories. They listen to these stories. Why? Because through them, they become more and more intellectuals. Because they start knowing more things, more than you. For instance, you don't know where the blue eyes of the European come from, but this guy knows, according to him. So this is not the guidance. Knowing what happened 2 million ago, whether it has happened or not, because most of it has to be a fiction novel anyway. Because all you know is there's a disruption in the flow of these genes, nothing more. what happened next and what these details are given is just a fiction. Fiction novels, they're narrated by a famous scientist or a famous author. Doesn't matter. It's a fiction novel. That's the value of it. So if we apply the same thing to our stories now, if we take, as Yusuf said, certain things in Quran, Musa did this, Musa did that.
Let's apply it to creation of Adam.
Yeah, creation of Adam.
Since you talked about evolution, take it from there.
Quran tells us a few things, and what we do, we fill this, a few things with what? Fiction. From Torah, from some other, the sources. A few of them from narrations of the Prophet, which, they're valuable. But the rest is just a fiction. And we say that, as a Muslim, I believe in that. Or do you know where the earth of the Adam, the first human, was taken from? It was taken from this and that ocean. And it was processed this and that way. Just like this guy was listening with, the fictional stories about how that many people were killed by that many people, whatever. We do the same. What is missing there? Whether this story is true or not, who cares? What is to me in this story?
Where's guidance?
Where is guidance? So we should ask the same question. When it comes to creation of the Adam, I should ask, where is guidance for me? Am I the first person created on this earth? Do I see mud in my body? Then I have to ask these questions. I have to ask what this mud represents in my life. Right?
Actually, it was more, this is a very, very important point. It was more than 10 years ago. 10 MSA invited a big scholar within the scope of United States, Muslim scholar, on campus. And the discussion's topic was evolution from an Islamic point of view. So the guy who gave the lecture was a theologian. And what he said was, he starts by admitting that he is not a biologist. But he said, according to Quran, human is created from get-go. We have no objection to any other evolution, but human. This is how he was presenting it. Like, what a problematic attitude that is. Like, reading creation story of Adam alayhi salam as a history of how human is made. And then when it comes to how science is giving its story, I am saying that I have no problem with, birds coming from dinosaurs, coming from frogs, coming from whatever. I have no problem with this part of the story. But when it comes to human, since Quran said that we created Adam from clay, this is how creation happened for human. Now I am taking the story as a signpost that explains how human is made, not what it refers to. Like, this is such a catastrophic way of reading Quran. And this mindset then accepts evolutionary story as perfectly fine as well, because Quran talks about this part of it as it is, and yet then God created the rest as such. Where's guidance here? This mindset does not find guidance in the rest of this biology and whatnot, neither does it find guidance in the Adam alayhi salam story. This is why the word guidance in here is important. In what sense story of Adam alayhi salam is relevant and guidance for me, number one. Number two, this story, how do I apply it to my life so that I say it makes sense actually? This conversation I can confirm, if not the word confirm, like it clicks with me. That story, I can hear it taking place, can I?
How can I live it?
At the moment.
I can live this story practically.
So this is why really it changes our attitude towards Quran. We can read the Quran as a storybook if you don't pay attention to this. We can read Quran as a science book, which we should not if we don't pay attention to this. So this is why that conversation is really establishing our attitude towards Quran. Let's conclude here, and next week, inshallah, or any concluding remarks or questions, maybe for next week. Any comments? Are we good? سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة